Every moment, your mind paints a world, a landscape shaped not just by what's out there, but by what bubbles up from within. It's as if our perceptions are the brushstrokes on the canvas of reality, flickering between science and spirit, emotion and thought. Beneath this surface, neurons flicker like stars, weaving patterns that define what we see and feel. Yet, at the same time, it's your awareness, the quiet witness inside, that whispers, "This is real." Together, perception and emotion stitch the fabric of your universe, transforming an outer world into a deeply personal creation. Today, we'll explore how dreaming the world into being isn't just fantasy, but a dance between the mind and consciousness. A symphony where perception both shapes and is shaped by what we believe is true. 1. Introduction: the idea that perception creates reality. Perception is the brushstroke painting the canvas of our world. The moment our senses intercept light, sound, scent, or texture, a complex dance begins. Neurons firing, signals weaving themselves into a tapestry of experience. Yet, what we perceive is far from an exact mirror of external reality. Instead, it's a filtered story, shaped by neurons influenced by past memories, emotions, and beliefs. Take sight, for example. The brain doesn't simply record what the eyes see. It interprets color, depth, and motion based on prior knowledge. A familiar face isn't just a collection of pixels. It's imbued with emotional significance, a story that lives within us long before we even recognize it consciously. What's astonishing is how strongly this internal process dictates what we consider real. Neuropsychology reveals that what we perceive can be distorted by illusions, confirming how malleable our grasp on reality truly is. Visual illusions, like the famous Muller-Lyer figure, trick the brain into perceiving different lengths where none actually exist. These tricks expose a vital truth. Perception is not passive reception, but active construction. Our minds fill in gaps, prioritize certain signals, and sometimes even overlook fundamental facts because of unconscious biases or emotional filters. The world we experience is, in essence, a personal universe built layer by layer in the mind. On a spiritual level, this notion deepens into the idea that consciousness itself co-creates reality. When awareness becomes more attentive or open, the boundaries between inner and outer dissolve a little more. Emotions act as magnifiers or dampers for perception. Love can flood the mind with vibrant colors and harmonious sounds, while fear darkens everything with shadows. The brain's neurochemical cocktail, dopamine, serotonin, and adrenaline, modulates what is attended to and how it's felt, nudging the perceived world closer to internal landscapes. In this way, perception is like a symphony composed by both external stimuli and internal states, blending neuroscience with a whisper of spirituality. Ultimately, this dance of perception challenges the idea of an objective reality floating apart from us. It suggests instead that each moment's world is a unique and personal creation, an interplay of sensory input, emotional resonance, and conscious awareness. By learning to become more aware of how we shape our reality from the inside out, perhaps we begin to see the world not as something separate, but as something we are continually shaping into being. In the quiet hum of perception, we find the power to co-author the story of our lives, dreaming the world into being with every conscious breath. 2. How the brain dreams the world through senses and memory. Our senses serve as the brain's portals into a vast, shimmering universe. Every flicker of light, whisper of sound, and scent carried through the air is gently woven into neural pathways, creating a vivid tapestry of experience. Light enters through the eyes, hitting the retina, where specialized cells translate photons into electrical signals that higher brain centers decode as shapes, colors, and movement. Sound waves ripple through the air, vibrate eardrum membranes, and transform into neural impulses that form the language of tone and rhythm. Touch, taste, and smell all follow their own intriguing pathways, each adding layers of richness to how we perceive the world. But this shimmering landscape is more than mere data. It's a symphony composed through a complex dance of perception and interpretation. Memory acts as the quiet artist behind the scenes, constantly shaping what we see through a filter of past experience. When the brain detects familiar shapes or sounds, it rapidly compares current sensory input to stored memories. This process not only helps us recognize objects, but also filters reality, emphasizing what feels meaningful or significant. A childhood smell of baking bread might flood your mind with warmth, or a familiar face can instantly evoke feelings rooted deep in your past. Memory creates continuity, stitching together fleeting moments into a coherent story, yet it also introduces bias, filling in gaps or blending moments into imagined certainty. Our perception is thus a blend of present raw data filtered through the lens of collective memories, beliefs, and expectations. Emotion further colors this perceptual canvas, subtly nudging how certain sights or sounds are experienced. When you're anxious or excited, your senses sharpen, colors seem brighter, sounds more vivid. Conversely, in moments of calm or fatigue, perception softens, dissolving sharp edges. This emotional modulation highlights how our internal states turn perception into a dynamic, living dialogue, not a passive reception of facts, but an active, creative act. The brain doesn't simply record reality. It interprets, embellishes, and sometimes even distorts it, depending on what it deems important or urgent at the moment. The world we see is therefore a personalized reflection, crafted by a continual interplay among sensory input, memory, and emotional tone. As neural pathways fire and resonate, perception becomes a kind of dreaming, an ongoing, visceral story that the brain constructs moment by moment. Each experience is filtered through this medley, shaping our awareness in ways we often take for granted. The world we live in is not a static mirror, but a living painting, brushed into existence by the delicate dance of senses, memories, and feelings. It's as if the brain is always dreaming, fabricating the scenery based on what it has learned and how it feels, turning perception into a creative act that co-creates reality itself. 3. Emotion and belief as filters of existence. Neuroscience reveals that our brains are constantly filtering reality through a lens shaped by emotion and belief. Every split second, billions of neurons process incoming sensory data, lights, sounds, textures. Yet what we consciously perceive is less a mirror of the external world than a projection colored by inner states. When you feel fear, the amygdala lights up, amplifying signals that confirm danger, sharpening certain sights and sounds into threats while muffling others. Conversely, moments of joy tend to heighten your awareness of beauty and connection, making the world feel warmer, more inviting. The brain's wiring acts like a filter, selectively amplifying what aligns with current emotional currents. Beliefs act as powerful interior scripts that pre-frame our experience long before sensory data arrives. If you hold the belief that the world is unfriendly, your perception becomes subtly biased to notice hostility, clenched fists, cold looks, dismissive words, so that your world feels often tense or lonely. On the other hand, trust and openness open a different filter, allowing beauty and kindness to emerge easily from everyday interactions. These mental frameworks don't just color perception. They actively shape what we notice, how we interpret events, and ultimately what we consider real. When a person believes they are capable and deserving, their awareness tends to focus on opportunities and successes, turning obstacles into mere stepping stones. Emotion and belief do more than tint perception. They also influence how we remember. The brain encodes memories with emotional tags, making emotionally charged events more vivid and more likely to resurface. A small act of kindness might be remembered as a major turning point simply because it felt significant at the moment. Similarly, persistent doubts or fears can embed themselves deeply into the fabric of memory, molding our view of the past, and therefore our expectations of the future. It's as if our inner convictions sculpt the foundation of our personal universe, shaping what stories we tell ourselves daily. This dance between internal states and external experience creates a universe that feels deeply personal yet universally interconnected. When one consciously becomes aware of how emotions and beliefs filter perception, barriers dissolve. It's as if the world's endless variations spring from these filters, each individual's reality a unique mosaic born not just from what is, but from how they feel about what is. Recognizing this allows for a gentle reminding. The world we see is partly a mirror held up by our inner world. Shift that mirror, and the world shifts, revealing new possibilities woven through the fabric of perception, emotion, and belief. 4. Shared perception, collective reality, and cultural dreaming. Throughout human history, shared perception has been the silent architect of the reality we all inhabit. Communities, tribes, nations, these collective hearts beat with a rhythm that shapes the world beyond individual perception. When people agree on what matters, what's beautiful, what's frightening, what's worth pursuing, they weave a collective fabric of meaning that influences everything from laws to customs. It's as if society itself dreams a version of the world into being, a shared story that guides behaviors and expectations. Neuroscience shows us that our brains are wired for social connection, constantly tuning into others' cues, aligning our perceptions with the group's narrative. Emotions are contagious, and our sense of what's real is often molded by communal feelings and shared symbols. Cultural dreaming extends far beyond simple agreement. It embodies the collective subconscious, where myths, symbols, and taboos create a scaffolding for what's validated or rejected in the social fabric. A culture's collective perception is powerful enough to influence individual brains, shaping the neural pathways that interpret experience. Think about popular stories or national myths. They're not just stories, but foundational visions that continually reinvent the landscape of possibility. When a community collectively holds onto hope or fear around a particular issue, those feelings ripple outward, influencing political decisions, economic behaviors, and even individual mental states. The shared dreaming fuels societal change, often starting in the realm of thought, but eventually manifesting as tangible reality. At the core, this collective perception acts like a mirror reflecting what a society believes is possible. The imagination, fueled by stories, rituals, language, and media, becomes a communal dreamscape that guides action. Take the environmental movements or the idea of human rights. They emerged from collective visions that gradually convinced nations to reshape laws, forge new priorities, and alter behaviors. These shared visions are not merely optimistic fantasies. They're potent ingredients in the alchemy of material change. When enough people believe in a future of sustainability, that belief can generate tangible shifts in industries, policies, and everyday choices. Everything from how we recycle to how we view our relationship with nature. What's fascinating is how this process works both ways. When a culture begins to question its prevailing narrative, perceptions can fracture, leading to societal shifts or revolutions. Sometimes, collective dreaming becomes a battleground. What is valued or feared depends on who holds the narrative. The power of perception in shaping reality becomes clear. It's as if the world we experience is a reflection not only of individual minds, but of the shared stories we tell ourselves. These stories, imbued with emotion and conviction, act as both lenses and bridges, connecting personal awareness with the collective consciousness, ultimately molding the very fabric of perceived reality. 5. Conclusion: awakening to the fact that we are both dreamers and the dream itself. When we look closely at the way our minds shape reality, it becomes clear that perception isn't a passive window, but a creative force. The brain filters an overwhelming flood of sensory information, light, sound, touch, then processes it through a web of past experiences, beliefs, and emotional patterns. What we see, hear, or feel is a kind of shared hallucination born from the dance of neurons firing in concert. Sometimes, a fleeting thought or a vivid emotion can alter our perception so profoundly that it feels like a different world altogether. Psychologists know that our mind's expectations shape our visual and auditory experience. A haunting melody can be just as real to us as the tangible objects around us, yet it exists only in the realm of perception. Neuroscience reveals that certain areas of the brain, such as the visual cortex, don't just passively relay images, but actively construct what we interpret as reality. This means that the world we experience is a kind of story our minds are telling us, crafted moment by moment. Take the phenomenon of optical illusions. They expose how easily perception can be tricked, showing us the gap between physical reality and mental experience. Our emotions, joy, fear, longing, color this story, giving it depth and texture. When we feel awe looking at a mountain or serenity watching a sunset, it's not just the external scene that moves us, but how our perception and emotion entwine to create meaning from what is present. Spiritually, this interplay suggests that the universe isn't separate from our consciousness, but a mirror of it, a vast, interconnected fabric woven from awareness. This interconnectedness hints at the idea that the world is not merely out there, but is co-created with each moment of attention and intention. When we realize that our perceptions create the contours of what we call reality, it's as if awakening from a dream. The boundaries between the observer and the observed soften until we see ourselves as both the artist and the canvas. In this state, the notion that we are helplessly swept along by external forces gives way to a profound understanding. We are vital, conscious creators of what unfolds before us. Recognizing ourselves as both dreamers and the dream itself invites a form of radical awakening. The world ceases to be a fixed stage set by distant, impersonal laws and begins to shimmer like a vivid, breathing manifestation of awareness. Every thought, every emotion, and every act of perception adds a brushstroke to the cosmos we inhabit. This realization opens a door to potent freedom, knowing that shifting our perspective can reshape our entire experience. We live within a boundless dream, yet that dream is alive with the power of consciousness. When we embrace this truth fully, we understand that our reality is constantly in flux, molded by the vibrations of awareness that dance between dreamer and dream, forever intertwined in a silent, cosmic conversation. As we gently exit this journey into the mind's delicate craft, it's clear that the reality we experience is less a fixed landscape and more a vibrant tapestry woven from perception, emotion, and awareness. Our brains act like artists, painting a world filtered through the lens of what we notice, what we feel, and how deeply we believe that the world is real. Every thought, every emotion colors the canvas, shaping the universe we carry inside us, and, in turn, the universe that responds to us. This dance between consciousness and creation reminds us that the world outside isn't separate from us, but intricately intertwined with the world within. When we become mindful of this, we see that our perceptions are not mere reflections, but active brushes shaping what we call reality. Our curiosity, our wonder, and our intention are the true architects of the future we're continually crafting, moment by moment. So, let this be an invitation to recognize your power in this ongoing alchemy. As you breathe and watch your mind wander, know that you hold the brush to paint new horizons, to dream the world into being with each choice, each feeling, each quiet moment of awareness. Stay curious, keep opening your mind's eye, and look forward to more explorations into how consciousness, science, and soul come together to reveal the marvel that is you, an artist shaping the universe, one perception at a time.